Federal prosecutors said today that they are dropping charges against a D.C. man they'd accused of threatening to kill the president. The move comes just 2 days after a grand jury declined to indict him. Instead, prosecutors say that they will now seek low-level vandalism charges in Superior Court. And I want to bring in our investigative reporter, Jordan Fisher, who's been following this case very closely. Jordan, there's obviously a big difference between threatening to kill the president and petty vandalism, right? Did prosecutors get any pushback today?
Yeah, a huge difference, Annie, obviously, and a huge amount of pushback from Magistrate Judge Faruqi, who's been critical for the last several weeks of how they've handled some of these surge cases. We've seen a number of dismissals. Of course, we've seen a number of grand jury refusals to indict. But today, Judge Faruqi went even further. He said he thinks that Edward Dana is owed an apology by the U.S. Attorney's Office, and he questioned why they weren't coming in, and this is his quote, in sheer embarrassment and shame, and asking him to expunge the arrest against him, which doesn't normally happen in federal cases, saying that obviously the consequences of this arrest, even though these charges are now dropped, could be with Mr. Dana for the rest of his life.
I'm curious what legal experts have to say about this. I'm sure you've spoken to several. Are they weighing in on this? Because this is the 9th time a grand jury has rejected charges since the federal surge began.
Right, Annie, I cover federal court. My vocabulary in my stories is usually pretty staid. I don't get to write things like extraordinary, uncharted, unprecedented, and that's what I'm hearing over and over and over again from law professors I talk to, from attorneys I talk to, from former prosecutors. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Now the question is, what is happening? Is it grand jurors pushing back on cases that they see as weak? Is it the citizens of D.C. pushing back on an occupation that they don't feel is warranted? What we've heard from the U.S. Attorney's Office is that U.S. Attorney Pirro is standing by her charging decision. She has accused the grand jury here of becoming politicized. That in and of itself is a pretty extraordinary statement from the city's top prosecutor, and experts that I've talked to said that they can't think of a modern analog of that.
Is there concern from within the U.S. Attorney's Office about the repeated grand jury rejections? Are they, seeing any signs of internal review or strategy shifts?
Right, well, we haven't heard anything on the record. Judge Faruqi has actually ordered them by 5 o'clock today to file something answering that exact question. As I said earlier, U.S. Attorney Pirro has stood by charging decisions so far. What we have seen is initially they had been going back to the grand jury to try to re-indict. We haven't seen that since the very first case. It's been a sort of one and done, and they've been filing misdemeanor informations. There appears to be some evidence I've seen that they may be going in a different direction on detention hearings as well. But so far, on the record, officially from the U.S. Attorney's Office, we haven't heard about any change of course. We haven't heard about any shifts in how they're going to pursue these cases. And what U.S. Attorney Pirro has said she's directed her office to do is file the maximum charge they believe the law supports and the fact supports.
All right, investigative reporter Jordan Fisher keeping a close eye on this case. Thanks so much, Jordan.